Hi, my name is Joshua. I am a second year here at PCO, and I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I spent 3 months preparing for the OET. I took time to look at all the subjects and what the tests entailed, and then I used a program called OET Booster, where they provided content review and then practice questions to prepare, and I think the best and most beneficial thing was using practice questions. Students find their roommates using a housing portal. Once you get accepted to the school, there's a housing portal link that's sent to you, and students put their preferences, such as how late they stay up, what type of person they are, their interests, as well as what they're looking for in another roommate. Typically, students find each other that way. The way I found my roommate was during Accepted Students Day. I came with my parents and I walked around the housing fair, and then I met my roommate, and we kind of clicked off of that, and we started looking for apartments from there. So the interview process is a whole day event. I would say about half a day. During the interview process, you come in, you spend part of the day meeting professors and faculty while you're here on campus. When I was here, I met our current dean at the time, as well as some associate deans. They take you around campus and show you the spaces you'll be living in and studying at while you're a student here, including the Hafter Center, the cafeteria, the library, and other spaces that students find themselves at. And then the second part of the day, or the middle part of the day, I would say, would be the interview. So in the interview, there's several rounds of interviews with different professors. So I went through 3 rounds. Students go between 3 or 4, depending on how much time they have. And then at the end of that, you have lunch where you get to talk to some students, current ambassadors, or typically the students you speak with. You can ask them any open-ended questions. This isn't a part of the documented interview, but it is a time for you to kind of ask questions and things you were wondering before you made your way to campus. And then the last part of the interview day is the school takes you to the off-campus Eye Institute, the Eye Institute that our students spend their time in. And you get to go through all the different suites that students are at, and while you're there, you can see students in live time working with patients and learning things amongst their preceptors. It's a pretty comprehensive day, but it gives you a real feel of what it looks like to be a student at PCO. Yes, parking is free. So our campus is fairly large. We have several lots, or one large lot around campus, as well as some additional lots like next to the Hafter Center. But parking is free, which is a cool benefit of bringing your car to campus. And my recommendation is, you work so hard to study and to do interviews and to decide where you want to go. I think the months leading up to your starting date, you should just relax. What I did was I traveled, I watched a bunch of TV shows and met with friends and family, and I think that gave me enough ease to start the semester with full force and do my best when I first got here. I wouldn't stress too much about studying ahead of time or reading any books. I don't think that'll put you at any type of particular advantage, because once you get here, you'll be more than prepared to take in the knowledge that the professor provided you. Professors are very, very open. Though we have a fairly large class size, every professor has an open door policy. If you need to reach out to a professor, it's not too hard to get in contact with them. Most of them after class, before class, you can walk to their office and they're there. You don't really have to schedule appointments at all unless there's a specific time you want to meet with them, but they're fairly open. I went to a fairly large undergrad institution, University of South Florida. We have about 40,000 undergrad students, and I had that same fear of, will I be just a number, or will I be someone that the professors care about? And just like at USF, you go in, you meet with the professor whenever you'd like, and then you can also adjust when you meet with them, dependent on their schedule and your availability. But they're very, very open, they're very, very kind, and it's also really nice to know that the majority of our professors are alum of this institution. So they went through the same things you were going through, the practicals, the assessments, most of the coursework. They've done that before, so they know what it feels like to be a student and to have to juggle life as well as being a student here at PCO. So I utilize a lot of Google Calendar and Google Sheets to organize how many lectures we have. It is a big jump from undergrad, but when I have everything laid out on a planner, I can kind of see what my week or month looks like. So lectures, I typically go through every lecture while I'm in class, pay attention so I don't have to relearn anything when I get home. And then for labs, it's all just practice. The more you practice, the better you get the skills. So this lab, like the one we're in right now, is open as long as school is open, which is typically around until midnight. So if I'm done studying for the day, I might go home, take a break, and then come back and put an hour in. Especially as you get closer to your assessments and your practicals, you want to be putting in practice every day. So an hour a day can really make a difference, so that when you get to your actual practical or assessment, you're not making any small mistakes or big mistakes. you kind of already seen all the different things that could happen within those practice sessions. But the school is really good at keeping this space available and accessible to students. So as long as you put in the time to come in and practice with a partner, you should do pretty well in those assessments. So students start seeing patients within the second semester of their first year. So during that time, you're taking a course called patient care, where students are required to go to the eye institute throughout different parts of the week, and they go in and they observe the preceptors that are there as well as the students that are there. Typically, you will be shadowing a second year, you will be shadowing a third year. So you're watching them watch their third year, and they're going through the whole eye exam process. Now at that time in your curriculum, you're still learning how to do a full eye exam, but it's cool to be able to apply what you're learning in class to what you see in clinic, because soon after you'll be in their shoes doing exams on patients. Now you're not doing anything on patients in that second semester, but the following semester you will be starting to do things and help with the exam process and exam flow with those third years. So it's pretty early on that you get to see what it's like to be in a room with a patient and then learn amongst the faculty in that clinic setting. So for me, I'm a big fitness guy, so I like working out. On the days where I have brain fog or I'm just beat, you would think that one would take a nap or relax, but to me, working out is pretty much a nice relaxing time for me. It's very, very important with all the hours you spend sitting in exam chairs like this or in classroom setting. Your body is not moving as much as it should, so it's important to stretch every day and then work out when you can. It doesn't have to be an hour or 2 hours. It could be just 30 minutes or 20 minutes, but that does build up and your body will thank you for it later.